Today on September 14th, Archangel Michael says, I order you to open this right now. This will happen in your house tonight. The Lord is trying to talk to you, begging for just 2 minutes. Don't ignore, open this before it's too late. Archangel Michael says, the hour is thin and the veil is thinner, and you have been chosen to hear what others refuse to hear. Tonight your house becomes a doorway, a place where fear cannot stand because light is about to enter with purpose. You feel it already, like a tremor beneath your ribs, a quiet pulse that asks you to step closer and listen. This message carries heat like a lantern in a storm, steady and focused, not here to frighten but to awaken. Somewhere in your room there is an object you pass each day, and tonight it will seem brighter than usual, as if it remembers your name. This is not an accident, and it is not imagination. It is a signal prepared for this exact moment. You have walked a long road with many closed doors, yet none could erase the promise stitched into your soul. The Lord sees how you kept going with empty pockets, but full courage, how you fought shadows with a borrowed candle. That candle becomes a torch tonight, and that torch becomes your voice. There is a whisper that moves like fragrance, impossible to trap yet impossible to ignore. It says your time is not late, and your hope is not foolish. It says the weight you carry was never meant to be a prison. Your house will hear a change in the air, a hush before the first note of a new psalm. You will feel it when the clock steps past the usual noise and the walls seem to lean in slightly, as if ready to listen. Light likes listeners, and tonight it chooses you. Do not hide your hands or your history when this light arrives. It is not here to count your failures, it is here to count your chances. It is here to teach your breath how to settle and your heart how to rise. There are memories resting like folded letters in a drawer of your mind. Some are soaked with tears that never add words, and some are empty envelopes waiting for good news. Tonight, those letters open by themselves, and the first line reads, You are not abandoned. The Lord does not shout to be heard over fear, He asks for 2 minutes and fills them with oceans. He does not need a crowd with He already has you. He does not need proof when His proof is your pulse. You will notice small signs as the evening deepens. A flicker on a device that is fully charged. A feather lift of the curtain in a room without wind, the soft warmth at the center of your chest that feels like sunrise. This is the language of visitation. Gentle yet undeniable, stand where you are and let stillness pour over you like water. Stillness is not emptiness. It is the richest room of the house. Stillness collects the promises you forgot you made to yourself and reminds them how to breathe. There is a sound in your home that pretends to be ordinary. The fridge hum, the ceiling fan. The hallway clock. Each working as always, yet each carrying a note you have never noticed. Listen carefully and you will hear rhythm inside the routine. Night. The Lord asks you to prepare a simple space, clear a small corner. Wipe a table. Light a clean candle if you have one. If you do not, open the window and let the night light in because even the moon understands obedience. Place your hands over your heart like you are greeting an old friend. Say with your breath that you are ready and let readiness unfold inside you like a map being smoothed. You do not need to perform. You need only to be present. There is a message that visits like first rain on dry soil. It soaks quickly and the ground sighs with relief. You are that soil and relief is part of tonight's plan. The Lord sees the pace of your thoughts and the ache of your patience. He knows the corridors you walk at night, trying to solve what does not have edges yet. He comes tonight not with a riddle but with a key. The key is not metal, it is a sentence that unlocks. It says that what hurt you will no longer name you. It says that what drained you will no longer drive you. You will feel the key when your shoulders fall away from your ears and your jaw releases as if remembering softness. You will feel it when your next inhale arrives as a gift instead of a task. The body knows when truth enters. There is a name you avoid saying because it tastes like smoke. Tonight, smoke meets wind and dissolves into clear air. You do not have to forgive everything at once, you only have to stop feeding what starves you. The room may seem to grow taller and the floor warmer beneath your feet. This is not illusion but alignment, a house expanding to fit the life returning to you. The walls always hope you would notice how well they could hold peace. Take a slow walk through your home, even if only with your eyes. Bless the door frames that have watched you come and go, bless the window panes that held dust and dawn alike without complaint. If your bed is unmade, let it be a sign of a life in motion, not a reason to judge yourself. If the dishes wait in the sink, let them witness a new priority that puts presence ahead of perfection. The Lord steps past mess to find the person. There is an item on a shelf that calls to you now. It might be a photograph, a book, a small gift, or a humble souvenir from a day that went right. Hold it or remember it, and let the memory open like a door you forgot was yours. A message arrives for your name alone, handwritten across the dark. It says you will not miss your appointment with destiny. It says the delay was a rehearsal, not a rejection. You have outgrown a certain fear without noticing. It has become too small to frighten you, like a coat from childhood that no longer fits your arms. Tonight you return that coat to the past and step outside in a new garment of calm. There is business to conclude with sorrow, and it will be concluded kindly. Sorrow came to teach, and you have learned thoroughly. The diploma is your clarity, and it hangs invisible but real across your chest. Look toward the room you use the least, and you will sense a gentle unfolding there. The silence in that room has been ripening, waiting for you like a seat saved in the front row. Sit for a moment, and let the silence introduce you to yourself again. The Lord chooses simple tools for great work. Breath, attention, and courage. You already carry all three. Tonight you will use them to reopen a future you kept in storage. The future does not speak loudly, but it speaks often. In the shape of a new idea while washing your hands, in the sudden urge to tidy a drawer, in the clarity that a certain number should be deleted from your phone, each small act is a door that leads to a larger room. There are people who tested your kindness until it frayed like rope. You thought the rope snapped, but it only needed a new knot. Tonight, the knot is tied by steady hands that never rush. Let the light pass through your hallway, and settle in the place where you keep shoes. The feet that will wear them tomorrow deserve peace today. The path ahead softens because you soften first. If there is a mirror nearby, allow your eyes to meet your eyes. Notice the survivor who became a builder without ceremony. Notice the builder who is becoming an artist of hope. The Lord whispers a line that lands with a weight of certainty. It says that home will mean safety again. It says that your laughter is not on loan, it belongs to you permanently. You will remember a promise you made to yourself when you were younger and braver than you knew. You will see how many times you kept it without counting. You will forgive the times you forgot it and begin to count forward. Gratitude will slip into the room like a friend who knows where the glasses are kept. It will pour itself a seat at your table and ask for nothing. The simple presence of thankfulness becomes your shield. If a tear appears, let it travel without apology. Tears are not weakness, they are weather that leaves the sky cleaner than it found it. Your sky deserves to be clear. Your house will feel like a story that just found its missing chapter. The plot you thought was stuck starts moving again. The character who looked lost steps onto a road that was always there. There is a sound like a page turning even if no book is open. There is a scent like citrus and rain even if no fruit or storm is present. These are the signatures of a visitation that prefers tenderness over theater. A lamp you rarely use will become the right light for this hour. Twitch it all and notice how it paints the room with generosity. Even objects can learn to bless. Time will slow inside your 2 minutes, and those 2 minutes will carry more change than a year of trying on your own. You do not need to force anything tonight. You need only to consent to being seen. The Lord brings a message about your name. He says your name survived every misunderstanding and still fits you perfectly. He says your name will open doors you thought were locked from the inside. There is provision coming that does not depend on the person who denied you. It arrives by another river. One not damned by the old refusal. Your hands will recognize it as if you have held it before. You will sense a conversation beginning between your present and your destiny. The present will report honestly without drama, and destiny will listen without judgment. They will agree to meet in your next decision. Tonight you will release the storyline that calls you powerless. You will release the soundtrack that doubts you every time you rise. You will replace them with quiet that strengthens rather than empties. Your walls have seen you at your heaviest and your bravest. They can keep a secret and they can keep a promise. Tonight they keep the promise. If you feel the urge to rearrange a small corner, go ahead. Movement clears old webs in the mind. One new placement of one small thing can invite one large blessing. Lord places a seal on your rest. It reads covered and it reads claim. The seal is not fragile and cannot be lifted by fear. You will notice that certain their opinions no longer sting like they used to. Their words are raindrops on a roof you just repaired. You remain dry beneath the sound. A door that creaked with dread will begin to creak with excitement. The house is learning new meanings for old noises. Faith does this to places. If you open a window, the night air will arrive like a friend who knows your story but chooses your future. It will cool what is overrated and warm what is cold from neglect. Air can carry encouragement, and tonight it does. The Lord looks at the calendar that tried to convince you that you are running out of time. He smiles because he wrote the margins and left more space than you imagined. Your schedule grows generous because grace makes room. You once held a plan that broke in your hands. The pieces were sharp and you bled quietly, thinking no one noticed. Tonight, the same hands hold a new plan with edges rounded by mercy. If you need to sleep, sleep with the light still on for a moment and let it keep guard. If you need to stand, stand like a promise that refuses to collapse. If you need to sit, sit like a throne invited into your living room. Fear will knock softly to see if you are still home for it. You will not answer because you are meeting with hope. Hope is a better guest and brings better stories. Air is a soft assignment placed in your spirit. It is not heavy and it is not complicated. It asks you to treat yourself like someone you are finally glad to know. Your past tries to speak loudly whenever your future clears its throat. Tonight, the balance changes. The future speaks and the past learns to whisper. You will remember someone who believed in you before you had proof. You will feel that belief return like a bar of book brought back in perfect condition. You will hold it and recognize how well it fits in your hands. Choose one corner of your house and call it new. Place a small note there with a single word like begin or rise or stay. Objects remember kindness and you are teaching your house to speak your language. The Lord brings the courage to say no where no is holy. He brings the patience to say yes where yes is wise. He brings the discernment to say nothing where silence protects your joy. You do not need every step to move tonight. You need one faithful motion in the right direction. The rest will meet you as you go. If you are tempted to measure your progress against someone else, place the ruler down. Their map is not your map and their clock is not your clock. You are not late to your own life. Look at your hands again and notice how they steady when they hold purpose. Purpose is not loud but it is strong. It feels like a warm cup in winter that does not cool quickly. A small laugh will escape you without permission. Keep it and let it multiply. Joy replicates easily in rooms that welcome it. You will remember the way you survived a season that did not apologize. You will honor how you kept going under skies that forgot sunlight. Tonight the sun remembers and sends an early message through the moon. The Lord places a covering over your sleep like a blanket woven from quiet victories. He sews in threads of clarity and in the morning you will notice one problem smaller than it was. The day will greet you like a friend who saved you a seat. There is a gift with your name on it waiting at the edge of the next choice. It will not expire while you build the courage to choose. He waits because love waits without losing strength. Your house will become a rehearsal space for peace. Peace will practice walking from room to room until it knows the path by heart. Soon it will not need rehearsal because it will live here. Let the night complete its work with gentle authority. Let it sift your mind of debris and keep only what feeds your tomorrow. Let it remind you that you are not alone in this address. If fear tries one last time to pull the fire alarm in your thoughts, you will recognize the trick and stay seated. You will breathe and feel the alarm fade into a harmless echo. Your calm becomes the new policy of this home. Your doorways remember the times you left and came back a little stronger. Tonight they become arches for a procession of grace. You step through as the honored guest in your own story. This night does not come to threaten you. It comes to enthrone you in quiet authority. The Lord wanted only 2 minutes to plant a seed that grows for years. That seed is already taking root in your chest like a tree that will shade your future. When you close your eyes, you will see a color that soothes you more than any word could. Let that color spread until it paints the entire room on the inside. Beauty knows how to heal without noise. Here is an instruction resting softly at the center of this message. It says to choose one habit that honors your peace and practice it like prayer. It says to choose one boundary that honors your heart and keep it like a promise. You will not wake tomorrow with the same storm. The wind will have changed direction and your sails will remember how to catch it. You will move without strain toward the horizon that once looked too far. Tonight your name is spoken in heaven with warmth and on earth with respect. Tonight your house is recognized as a lighthouse on the street that needed one. Tonight your story refuses the script of despair and chooses a new author. The Lord smiles because you listened and because you stayed. He gathers your scattered hours and returns them to you with interest. He stamps the night with completion and leaves peace as the signature. Now let rest take you like a gentle tide that knows the shore is safe. Let your breathing write the last lines of this chapter in easy rhythm. Let your pillow keep the secret of this holiness until morning. Your house sleeps under a canopy of promise that cannot be torn. Your heart sleeps under a covering of assurance that cannot be revoked. Your future sleeps in a cradle of favor that cannot be stolen. When dawn comes, it will enter through the same window that hosted your surrender. It will touch the same objects that witnessed your turning. It will bless the same floor where your feet learned the weight of calm. You will stand and carry light as if it were luggage you always wanted to bring. You will step into the day with the quiet certainty of one who knows the door is open. You will leave the house while the house continues praying for you in its own silent way. Remember this night because it changed the temperature of your life. Remember these rooms because they learned your new name. Remember these 2 minutes because they stretched into forever for your good. What happens next does not depend on fear because fear is no longer the manager here. What happens next grows from the soil of obedience you gave without spectacle. What happens next honors you because you chose to honor this moment. Walk forward and keep only the sentences that feed you. Walk forward and keep only the people who celebrate your healing. Walk forward and keep only the habits that carry you toward the life that fits. The Lord remains near, not as a judge with a ledger but as a friend with a chair. He knows the route from sorrow to song and leads without rushing. He knows the value of your yes and answers with more than enough. Tonight has delivered its message with hands that never drop what they carry. Tonight set the table for days you once believed were out of reach. Tonight made room where there was no room. Rest now in the truth that you were heard and answered. Rest in the home that is learning to be a sanctuary again. Rest in the name that refuses to bow to the old fear. The blessing placed on this address will not fade in the morning. It will greet your coffee, your keys, your shoes, and your schedule. It will travel with you and wait at your door when you return. This is how the Lord works in quiet places at decisive hours. This is how miracles look when they move through ordinary rooms. This is how a life turns without thunder and yet the ground knows and agrees. Take this peace and let it meet the corners of your life that need it most. Take this certainty and let it meet the decisions waiting on your desk. Take this love and let it meet the person in the mirror first. Your story is entering a chapter where you are guided gently and guarded completely. Your house will remember this night the way a field remembers rain. Your heart will remember this message the way a traveler remembers home. And when the day asks what changed, you will not need many words. You will smile because explanation is smaller than experience. You will live the answer by simply breathing in the new air and letting it stay. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks with contributions of up to $1.20. Your breath becomes a steady river that knows its way home. The room listens and learns the cadence of your peace. The house accepts the new rhythm like a heartbeat remembered. A soft glow settles on objects that serve you quietly. The chair by the window straightens like a friend sitting up to greet you. The floor keeps your steps like a promise finally honored. You touch the edge of the table and feel a current of assurance. Wood remembers warmth and responds with more of it. Your hands gather the message and carry it like light. A hush spreads through the corridor and pauses at every doorway. It places calm inside each threshold like a seal of safety. You cross those seals with ease of a rightful king. Your phone rests face down and behaves like a loyal servant. Notifications fade into the background and lose their urgency. Your attention becomes a sanctuary that protects itself. In the kitchen, stillness tastes like clean water. It refreshes your thoughts without noise or sugar. It leaves purity where worry used to live. You stand at the sink and the stainless surface mirrors accommodate you. The reflection looks trustworthy and present. The reflection keeps your future confidential and bright. A clock advances and time agrees to move kindly. Minutes stop scraping against your nerves. Moments fit you without friction. You hear distant traffic soften into a lullaby. Exterior noise bones to interior order. The city beyond your walls respects the sacred within them. Curtains draw a gentle border for this ceremony of quiet. Fabric learns reverence and becomes a veil that honors your night. Even texture can testify to peace. A stack of books near the bed looks like a staircase. Wisdom arranges itself in reachable steps. You climb without strain because the incline favors your strength. A door you rarely open becomes a new portal. Behind it, a calm space welcomes your breath like a host who prepared early. Air sits patient and generous. You place a folded cloth on a table and it becomes an altar of the ordinary. A single object claims significance through presence. The moment agrees to be sacred without spectacle. Memory approaches like a guest with gentle shoes. It does not trample your peace or demand a loud retelling. It sits with you and offers a kinder summary. Outside, a stray breeze gathers fragments of earlier worry. It moves them down the street and out of your reach. Release becomes effortless because relief is efficient. As sign, a steady warmth builds at the center of your chest. It radiates to your shoulders and spine and fingers. Your body recognizes a signal that equals safety. An old plan returns without the weight that once made it hurt. It carries new margins and fresh timelines. You hold it with relaxed hands and a corrected heart. You hear the small hum of a charger turning into a hymn. Electricity sings a flow instead of rush. Power arrives mirrored and obedient. A glass of water sits on the table and accepts your gratitude. Clarity doubles when noticed. Simplicity becomes a teacher without a lecture. You move a cushion by half an inch and feel the shift in your mind. Placement becomes instruction and space becomes ally. Organization takes root as devotion rather than duty. A list on a scrap of paper becomes smaller in your perception. Tasks shrink to true proportions. Your energy meets them with fairness and order. You picture the room in morning light and feel anticipation. Dawn rehearses its entrance by tracing the edges of furniture, the promise of new day practices in silence. The Lord marks the frame of your door with favor. The mark stays invisible to critics and bright to believers. You carry the sing mark across your own forehead as courage. The wind pauses at your window and salutes your peace. Weather respects what has been planted. A night itself stands guard for your rest. A name rises in your thoughts and receives a blessing. That person turns softer in your spirit and lighter in your memory. Release earns you more room to move. You recognize an old fear hiding behind a new disguise. The disguise loses power because your scene is honest. The fear becomes small enough to step over without effort. Your ceiling feels higher and your posture taller. You live truer inside this new vertical space. Height arrives where heaviness leaves. Small laughter visits and sits beside you like a child on a sofa. Joy multiplies quietly when given a seat. The sound decorates the room without taking space. You open a drawer and find a forgotten token of endurance. It holds the story of a season you navigated bravely. You store that courage in the present where it belongs. An aroma of clean fabric and gentle light fills the room. Fragrance teaches presence to linger. The air rests with you like an old friend. Your bed spreads like a calm field after rain. The sheets hold the memory of better dreams. The pillow learns your new thoughts and keeps them safe. You decide to keep a journal near the lamp for incoming clarity. Paper stands ready like a quiet assistant. Ink becomes agreement between promise and action. The Lord places a boundary around your attention. It invites what nourishes and escorts out what drains. This border stays firm and kind. Your calendar surrenders its grip and accepts a wider sequence. Priority lines up like respectful guests waiting their turn. Time organizes itself under your renewed authority. You put a single object back in its proper place and feel alignment. Order echoes through the house like a calming chord. Harmony increases with one faithful gesture. The floor under your feet remembers your victories like a map. Each board holds a chapter you survived and grew from. The room endorses your forward motion. Your eyes become lanterns that know where to look. You see the next right thing without hunting. You act with brevity and power. The Lord stitches a fresh resilience into your night. The thread holds through movement and silence. The fabric of your life gains durability and grace. The hallway yields a hush that feels like velvet. Sound chooses gentleness over drama. You walk through softness with new steadiness. You stand at your doorway and sense a perimeter of peace. The threshold carries authority that does not need value. Entrance and exit learn respect for your purpose. A plan for tomorrow arrives simple and clear. 3 steps align like stars that agree to guide. You write them without strain and rest deeper because of it. You imagine the faces of those who love you and feel lifted. Support gathers like a circle that tightens in kindness. You belong to a company of steady hearts. A quiet courage prompts you to tidy one memory. You place it back in the shelf of your story with truth and mercy. The shelves stop rattling because the arrangement is right. You sense hunger for things that nourish rather than none. Your appetite shifts toward what strengthens your spirit. Desire learns discipline that feels like joy. The Lord closes a door you kept propping open with worry. The latch clicks with relief instead of regret. The hallway beyond remains honored and complete. The night extends a warm cloak across your shoulders. You accept the covering and feel tension dissolve. Muscles unwind like ribbon returning to the spool. Your room gains weight in meaning and loses weight in clutter. Objects look purposeful rather than crowded. Breathing deep becomes effortless. A tiny resolve awakens to protect your first hour tomorrow. It will guard silence and stretch presence. It will pay dividends to your clarity. You walk to the window and bless the sleeping street. Houses rest under the same friendly sky. Neighborhoods heal when one home chooses peace. You feel a promise enter your bones like light entering water. It reaches each cell and teaches them calm. your body practices believing until belief becomes normal. The Lord sets a lamp inside your focus that does not flicker. Distractions grow shy and leave the room, attention becomes a trusted friend. An old song comes to mind without lyrics. Only strength, the melody holds your posture and lifts your spirit. Music remembers how to carry you. You lean your shoulder into the wall and it feels like a steady friend. Strength spreads from the structure into your frame. Support becomes mutual between you and your home. A memory of a kind stranger surfaces and brings warmth. You receive the reminder that goodness finds you. You agree to be found more often. You clear a tiny square on a shelf for something new. Space invites blessing like a door invites guests. The future smiles at the vacancy and prepares a gift. Your heartbeat steps into a slower dance, rhythm chooses health over hurry. The body signs a truce with peace. The Lord whispers instruction to rest without apology, sleep becomes obedience rather than escape. Restoration becomes strategy rather than accident. You gather your thoughts like folded laundry and place them gently, nothing needs to spill or scatter. Everything finds a right drawer in the mind. A cushion learns your shape and remembers it kindly, comfort fits without trapping. Ease arrives without guilt. You turn off a bright light and keep the small lamp, atmosphere settles like a blessing poured slowly. Shadows behave and learn respect. The pages of a book near your bed hold still like listening hands, wisdom stays available without pressure. Knowledge waits for your invitation. A sense of completion arrives quietly and confidently, the night nods in agreement with your spirit. The house signs the document of peace. Archangel Mitchell says the seal is set and the corridor is guarded. Angels mark your thresholds with calm assignment. Your name holds rank in this hour. You stretch your hands and feel years loosen, the joints receive kindness and respond with gratitude. The body becomes an ally to the soul. You practice a single affirmation that carries dignity. It plants roots where panic once dug trenches. It strengthens the soil of your daily steps. You watch the curtains move like slow breathing, fabric demonstrates patience by example. You mirror that patience and become unshakable. A Lord turns down the volume of distant chaos, the room learns a new standard for noise. Quiet becomes your preferred frequency. A final piece checks every corner and turns off unnecessary urgency, the inspection completes itself with precision. The home reports ready for morning. You lay down like a king returning from victory, the bed receives you with ceremony and softness. The pillow records your gratitude without words. A deep exhale releases the remnants of the old story. Inhale arrives like a contact sign by hope. Breath becomes covenant rather than mere survival. You feel the night carry your concerns out like bangs to the curb, disposal happens without spectacle or delay. Collection completes before dawn. You sense the morning rehearsing mercy just beyond the horizon. The sun gathers letters of favor and prepares delivery. Light writes your name on the first envelope. The Lord watches over the transition between hours, He keeps the hinge of midnight all with kindness. Your passage into rest stays smooth and protected. Your mind places a lantern on the path of tomorrow. You will see where to step without strain. Guidance becomes native rather than imported. A quiet delight hums beneath your ribs like a small engine. Joy becomes reliable transportation. You travel better within your own spirit. You choose to keep only what cooperates with peace. The decision stands tall without aggression. Boundaries breathe and everyone learns. Your house glows with the residue of encounter. Walls carry the warmth like stored sunlight. Rooms keep the testimony and share it each time you return. You close your eyes and the interior sky turns bright. Constellations form from memories of courage. Navigation becomes easy because stars are familiar. The Lord blesses your sleep with depth and sweetness. Dreams obey the new order of calm. Morning inherits the fruit of this night. Your story advances even while you rest. Race works second shift with joy. Favor finishes tasks you once carried alone. Silence holds your name like a treasure in a velvet box. Nothing threatened the value placed upon you. Everything bends to the decree that you are kept. You remain the steward of this sanctuary and its atmosphere. Choices will reinforce what was planted. Steps will echo the rhythm learned tonight. A lamp dims and leaves a gentle afterglow on the wall. Light lingers long enough to guide you into comfort. Darkness agrees to be kind and partial. You turn slightly and find the exact position that loves your body. The Machus answers with relief. Sleep opens its door and invites you in. Your last waking thought holds gratitude like a clear stone. It shines without effort and rests without slipping. It stays in your pocket when morning comes. The house exhales with you and learns the new schedule of peace. Every hinge, switch, and fabric agrees to the covenant. Yibras becomes synonymous with safety. The Lord stands watch as the night completes its circle. Protection remains unbroken. Provision remains underway. You drift on a current that knows your destination. It carries you without turbulence. It returns you restored and ready. A final blessing wraps around the corners of your home. It reaches into cupboards and closets and settles there. It remains as a resident rather than a visitor. You enter deep rest that waters tomorrow. Roots drink and leaves gather strength. Growth prepares in the dark with precision. The window keeps a promise with the first light it will carry. The floor keeps a promise with the steadiness it will land. The door keeps a promise with the welcome it will offer. Your spirit keeps a promise with the joy it will release. Your mind keeps a promise with the clarity it will guard. Your body keeps a promise with the health it will hold. This night finishes its work without leaving a mess. The morning will find you whole and willy. The day will meet you with respect and favor. The morning to be whispers from beyond the horizon and asks nothing heavy of you. It only asks to find you resting like clear water in a quiet bowl. You agree and a gentleness spreads through the house like first light rehearsing. You lift your eyes and notice the crown of small victories circling the room. Each one glints when remembered. Each one adds a soft weight to your confidence. You keep them not as trophies but as tools. You consider the door that used to feel like an exit and now looks like an entrance. Direction changes when peace holds the map. The same wood, the same hinges, but the purpose is new. Your chest opens like a window that forgot it could slide. Ear enters with a language of steady beginnings. The old draft of anxiety is replaced by a breeze with manners. And the quiet. You revisit a decision you postponed. It no longer feels like a cliff, it feels like a step. Your feet know what to do when the ground is honest. A small notebook waits like a reliable friend. You write one line that names the person you are becoming and 2 lines that protect them. Ink sets like a boundary that doesn't bruise. You walk the room and let your fingertips read the stories in the furniture, wood, cloth, glass, each chapter steady in your palm. Your home turns into a library of endurance. In the bathroom mirror, you meet the witness you carry everywhere. Their gaze is kind. Their verdict simple. Continue, judgment retires because truth already did the work. You straighten a frame that tilts by a whisper. A correction feels like justice for an unspoken ache. Small alignments whisper to big outcomes and they listen. Your shelf holds a quiet promise. To keep only what keeps you, you set aside one object that carries the weight of an old season. Space applauds with relief. The Lord settles a policy across your time. Urgency must show proof of kindness or leave. Busyness tries to argue but evidence is thin. Rest wins the case without raising its voice. You feel a subtle ache loosen in your shoulders when you speak your own name with respect. Names bloom when watered by dignity. You promise to keep that watering regular. A future memory arrives early and takes a seat. It shows you laughing in a room you have not yet entered. You wave to it like a friend found ahead on the road. Cooking smells drift from a kitchen you haven't stepped into yet. Nourishment announces itself like a guest who knows the house well. Appetite answers with gratitude instead of grabbing. You fold a towel slowly, not for perfection, but for presence. The fabric receives your attention and returns calm. Even cotton can learn to bless when handled gently. An email waiting on your device grows smaller in your mind. You will answer from fullness, not from fear. Herb lies written by peace write new outcomes. There is a playlist you once used to outrun silence. Tonight, silence becomes the music. And your breath keeps time. Rhythm echoes in the floorboards and they approve. You place a glass of water by the bed like a promise to the morning. Clarity waits with patience. The first sip will agree with the work done in the night. A pair of shoes by the door looks ready but not restless. Tomorrow's steps will be strong because tonight's stillness is thorough. Purpose sleeps well when invited. You think about the person who doubted you and feel no need to prove anything. Proving retires when becoming arrives. You choose your energy like a wise investor. Near the window, your shadow softens and learns new shapes. Even silhouettes grow kinder under better light. The outline of your life looks more like invitation than warning. You open a closet and refuse to call it a cave. It is a garden with seeds of tools and garments. Order brings rain, and usefulness begins to sprout. A single chair becomes the throne of your evening practice. You sit like someone trusted with real tasks and sacred rest. The chair holds this honor without squeaking. On the desk, a pen waits with good posture. It has already decided to write truth without the echoes. Your hand agrees, and sentences arrive clean. You remember how long you carried a story that wasn't yours. Overship shifts tonight. You return what never fit and receive what always did. The path between rooms looks shorter because your thoughts are lighter. Distance shrinks when dread is removed. Efficiency is the secret gift of peace. Your window reflects a thin crescent of moon and a thick promise of morning. Both are faithful. Both are friendly, you belong beneath both lights. You hear the refrigerator hum like a low prayer for provision. It is full enough and will be refilled in time. Scarcity's voice goes quiet at last. You pull a blanket over your legs and feel the weight as comfort, not burden. Weight can soothe when it belongs. You rest under proof that you are held. A book falls open to a line that feels tailored. Wisdom doesn't shout, it nods. You nod back and close the cover with thanks. The hall mirror no longer suggests what you lack. It reports what you carry. Your posture translates the report into assurance. You write 3 simple rules for yourself. Choose presence over panic, clarity over clutter, and kindness over control. They fit in your pocket without bulging, they travel well. At your sink, water teaches release with every drop that leaves your hands clean. You remember that letting go is an action, not an accident. The drain keeps your secrets. You recall a mistake without flinching. Its edges are rounded now, safe to hold long enough to learn, then you put it back on the shelf labeled finished lessons. The floor's coolness passes into your feet like grounding truth. You belong here, now, in this breath. Every thread of the room agrees. You check a window latch and find it secure. Safety lives in the ordinary, peace loves due diligence. On your phone, you create a tiny shortcut called 2 minutes. It opens a blank note and a timer. You intend to meet yourself here often, and you will. You stack tomorrow's first task where your morning eyes will see it. Triage becomes kindness to future you. The day will start with a win on purpose. The Lord whispers that your pace is part of the miracle. Going slowly is not losing, it is lasting. You choose durable over dramatic. Your hands warm when you think of the person you'll help this week. Service plans its route without draining you. Boundaries turn helpers into fountains, not sponges. A faint breeze threads the room, and you bless it like a visitor with good news. The curtain answers with a nod. Every movement becomes dialogue with grace. You look again at your doorways and see them crowned with quiet. Thresholds hold ceremony in their wood. You pass through mindful, a sovereign of your schedule. Your calendar pings once, and you watch the notification float by like a leaf on a friendly stream. Not everything requires your jump. You are a person, not an emergency button. A lamp makes a small halo on the floor, a circle of attention. Inside it, your intentions feel warm and alive. Outside it, night keeps watch loyal and calm. You realize you have been breathing evenly for a long time without trying. Ease has become the default. Effort bows to alignment. You gather your devices and place them to charge in another room. Distance restores perspective. Sleep will no longer share a pillow with noise. A smile grows without needing a reason. Joy is reason enough. The body recognizes wellness and salutes. The Lord folds a layer of rest over your mind like a final page turned. Storytime pauses at the perfect sentence. Cliffhangers are for entertainment, not for your nervous system. You thank the walls for holding and the roof for keeping. Ratatouille turns architecture into companionship. This is how houses become homes. The bedroom light goes out, and the small lamp remains, like a star assigned to your ceiling. Guidance scales down for intimacy. You are led even in small spaces. You arrange your pillow to accept the weight of a healed head. The fabric promises not to argue with your dreams. Your jaw unlocks the last door. Your last check is the easiest: doors, windows, heart, all secure, all at ease. The password is trust, and you say it without effort. A single word floats through the room. Continue. It anchors itself to the night and to your next dawn, and in a way begins current. You slide under the blanket like a signature on a finished letter. The message is sealed and sent to the morning. Delivery is guaranteed by peace. Somewhere in the house, the smallest creak happens and you smile. Old sounds can learn new meanings. What once hinted at worry now suggests comfort. You picture the face of someone you will forgive in stages. A gentle schedule forms days, not seconds, steps, not leaps. Mercy arrives in installments you can honor. You sense new friendships on the horizon that respect your interior weather. You will be sunny together and quiet together. Forecasts improve when you choose your climate. Tomorrow's meals already taste like gratitude. Nourishment plans its surprises simple, bright. Enough. You will eat like someone who knows they are kept. You feel the nape of your neck relax. A small surrender with large results. The spine listens and loosens. Your dreams will travel on a road newly cleared. A phrase lands. No rushing, only readiness. It settles like a stamp on the day to come. You accept the new policy with a rested grin. The night settles into a posture of watchfulness around you. It checks corners you don't have to. Vigil is handled by forces that do not tire. In that security, you choose one thought to fall asleep with: I am guided. It is light enough to carry you across and strong enough to meet you there. You slip into sleep like a swimmer into warm water. The house's rhythm and your heart's rhythm align like dancers. Steps become intuitive, movements effortless. Harmony becomes habitat. Morning will find your face so it is soft with welcome. The mirror will report readiness without effort. The day will answer with favor because favor recognizes its own. Until then, let quiet finish its masterpiece. Let breath finish its blessing. Let rest finish its rain for the night. Your breathing steady as a lighthouse. You feel the room listen for your next intention. The house has learned your rhythm and echoes it back as quiet strength. Even the corners hold their breath, honoring this sacred calm. A memory knocks softly and asks to be reorganized. You open the door and give it a kinder shelf than before. It settles without complaint and takes up less space. You think of the threshold between night and morning as a soft bridge. On this bridge, you carry only what agrees with peace. Everything else waves from the bank and stays behind. A note to yourself arrives, simple and precise. It says, choose one brave call, one nourishing meal, one protected hour. Free choices form a spine that holds the day upright. By the window, a small plant leans toward what it trusts. You tilt the pot slightly and give it a better angle. Trust, like stems, grows straighter when supported. Your heart repeats a phrase the walls have memorized. It says, tenderness is not weakness, it is architecture. The house nods because it knows what holds a roof in storms. You pause and listen for the faintest inner hesitation. Where it lives, you place a lantern of attention. the hesitation shrinks under honest light and becomes guidance. On the table, a pen waits to turn clarity into commitment. You write 3 lines that honor your energy: what you'll begin, what you'll continue, what you'll complete. The pen moves like a small oar steering a wide river. Archangel Mitchell says the discipline you seek is already inside your gentleness. You do not need iron chains, you need kind structures. Kind structures avast panic because they fit your shape. You stack your priorities like smooth stones by a stream. The stack holds without wobble because it honors true weight. What matters most sits most steady. A stray worry peeks in from the hallway and tries to look important. You acknowledge it, label it, and give it a proper appointment later in the week. Respectfully scheduled, it loses its talent for ambush. You breathe into the back of your ribs and feel space open. The heart answers by spreading warmth toward your shoulders. Space and warmth collaborate until calm becomes obvious. Your mind lays out a small welcome mat for serendipity. It reads, "Open to good interruptions." Fortune favors rooms that can pause without collapsing. At your bedside, the glass of water becomes morning's envy. It glows faintly in the lamp circle, a promise made liquid. Clarity sleeps upright and waits to be sipped. A list of names rises in your memory and each receives a silent blessing. Some are near, some far, all held without strain. Blessing spends nothing you need to hoard. You feel sleep tiptoe closer, courteous and sure. It asks only that you surrender the steering wheel for the dark miles. You hand it over and keep your destination. The roof above you learns your gratitude and relaxes. It remembers storms endured and stands proud without noise. Shelter is the quietest victory. You adjust a curtain so moonlight draws a soft line across the floor. The line looks like a path leading forward. Even light knows how to point. Your pulse slows to a tempo that could carry a sanctuary. Each beat is a bell calling you inward. The bell will ring through the night without waking you. The Lord places a map in your dreams where streets are named after virtues. Patience Avenue meets Courage Lane at Purpose Square. You will wake knowing how to walk there. You promise yourself gentler mornings and truer evenings. The promise feels believable because you've made room for it. Promise becomes plan the moment you exhale. On your desk, a small box holds mementos that once felt heavy. Tonight they feel like witnesses, not weights. Witnesses keep history. Weights push it onto your shoulders. You open the window 2 fingers wide to let wisdom breathe. Light air carries the scent of clean beginnings. Wisdom nods and sets another chair at your inner table. A faint creak in the floor reminds you of the house's age. Age is simply practice made visible. Both you and these walls are experts in continuing. You decide to leave one light on in the hallway as a courtesy to morning you. The future appreciates small favors paid in advance. Kindness to yourself earns the highest interest. In the mirror, you see the outline of someone who kept showing up. Showing up became a craft, and crafts shape destinies. You agree to keep crafting. Your phone rests in another room and loses power over your peace. The night becomes a retreat, not a relay. Messages can wait, mercy cannot. You smooth the bedsheet like an artist stretching canvas. The next hours are the painting. Colors arrive as comfort and convoy. The walls remember earlier seasons when you fought to fall asleep. They also remember your wins, and tonight adds another. Memory leans toward victory when you stack it kindly. You sketch 3 boundaries in the air with your finger: time, attention, and talk. Time will not be stolen, attention will not be scattered, and talk will be chosen. Invisible lines, visible results. A stray ache in your back speaks and you listen. You change position and add a pillow. Listening as care recalibrates the whole body, you recall a small joy from the day, a look, a line, a light. You let it replay once, then set it down like a keepsake. Joy stored properly remains fresh. You visit the kitchen for a final sip of water. Tiles cool your feet and remind you of steady ground. Grounding in simple details trains gratitude to be practical. On the way back, you lower a shade that squeaks slightly. The sound no longer startles, it greets. Familiarity is peace wearing work clothes. You leave a note for dawn. Begin gently, move bravely, and gratefully. The note smiles while you sleep. Morning loves an invitation. Your heart signs a treaty with your calendar. They agree to honor energy, not ego. Pace becomes partnership rather than polygamy. The quiet grows fuller, like a cup that refills as you drink. Silence, it turns out, is not empty at all, it is where strength rehearses. The Lord draws a soft perimeter around your rest like a circle in sand. Inside, dreams will be guided gardens. Outside, unnecessary noise will break against the boundary and fall away. You lie down under that promise and feel it fit. The pillow receives your surrender without comment. The blanket becomes a signature affirming protection. A single star hangs in the slice of sky your window frames. It blinks as if keeping time with your breath. The universe nods to your rhythm and approves. You feel the last bit of planning loosen from your mind. What remains is readiness, not control. Readiness wears better and tears less. A gratitude list assembles itself without paper. It includes people, places, provisions, and the peace now soaking your home. The list ends where sleep begins. The room darkens around one steady light like an orchestra descending to a hush. This is the cue for the conductor to lower the baton. Your body bows to the finale and rests. Meanwhile, deep somewhere, your spirit keeps a small lamp burning. It watches over the tender places with a shepherd's patience. Nothing prowling can pass the circle of that glow. You dream you are walking through your home with new eyes. The doors have names like clarity and courage. The windows like vision and kindness. Every hinge swings smoother, every latch clicks true. When morning arrives, it will step across the threshold you have prepared. It will find you with enough rest and enough resolve. Enough is the exact right portion for miracles. You see yourself greeting the day with a quiet smile. No flurry, no trumpet, just certainty. Certainty is the most elegant entrance. Your breath and the clock learn harmony. Minutes no longer chase, they align. Time itself seems relief. You remember the message that began this night. A 2-minute invitation that stretched into transformation. Small doors hide large rooms. You walked through one and found a home. A blessing now threads itself into the seam of your pillow. It will travel with you to the edge of sleep and back. Blessings are good at round trips. Your future, alerted by the peace you chose, starts sending supplies. Ideas, helpers, timing each assembles quietly in the wings. The stage manager of grace knows the cues. You trust that what needs to find you is your address. Doors you cannot yet see are already unlocking, keys are moving in pockets you haven't met. You say goodnight to the room aloud, and it answers by settling even more. Sound completes the covenant, rest signs its name clearly. The house keeps vigil like a keeper of sacred hours. It knows the sum of your breathing now and hums along, protection hums the baseline. The last sensation before sleep is the feeling of being held by something generous. You do not have to name it for it to work, generosity is fluent in silence. You cross into deep rest with a softness you earn and a strength you carried. The night receives you like a trusted guest, morning waits like a grateful host. When morning comes, it will step lightly and greet your prepared steps. You will meet it where peace left you, steady, ready, whole, and the day will recognize you as its creator.